If you leave the room thinking, did I sound dumb? Was I annoying? Did I talk too much? Or do uncomfortable things just so someone else doesn't feel uncomfortable? Then this is for you. This is a podcast about girlhood, womanhood, and what we've experienced. This is where we will share stories, some funny, some not so funny. Here we all share one thing. We're anxious as fuck. So welcome to the first episode of Good Girls Have Anxiety. My name's Caitlin Fryer, and this is
Laine Shepley.
And the funny thing about us is we don't really know each other very well. But this podcast is going to be a lot of us getting to know each other. But one of the things that we really have in common is we're both pretty anxious people. And I think we both take very different perspectives of what anxiety is. And we can share those experiences, and some of them are going to be really funny and some of them just really aren't. So hopefully everybody enjoys listening, and let's get to the funny first. First, let's play a game of weird things that make me anxious. So one of the things that, it's funny, I was going through these with my husband in the car the other day, just kind of telling him because I was excited and I kind of wanted to hear my thoughts out loud. Because you get a little squirrely when you're in your own thoughts. And sometimes you just want to blurt them out to somebody so somebody can be like, oh, those are valid things to be anxious about, or that is completely insane. Especially being married to somebody who isn't necessarily anxious. And I think with you too, you're dating somebody who's not inherently anxious, and it's behind every anxious girl or anxious person is a partner who's what's the big deal?
Yeah, he's anxious in different ways that are not the same as me, but he definitely doesn't get it sometimes, because I'm way more of a socially anxious person than a irrationally anxious person. I have way more problems with going out and meeting people and being in group environments than he does, I think. And even though we're both pretty introverted, he doesn't struggle with that stuff. He joined a basketball league this year, and he knew nobody on the basketball league,
and he just showed up.
I was
no what? He just showed up. He Googled it.
Yeah.
This is what?
It was just crazy. I was cool. I told him about it. A friend of mine who he had met once or twice before, and not in any deep way. I was they have a basketball league. Would you be interested in joining? And he was sure. And then he just signed up, and then he went every Wednesday and played with them. And I was these are just not things I could ever do. 100% I could never do that.
But think about how simple that is.
I know.
I want to play basketball, so I went and I did it.
It's wild to me, because these are things that I would just never think about doing at all, or even want to do, and he's just yeah, let's just go for it.
So, do you ever get anxious about time? Just so if you know that that basketball thing, doing that every single Wednesday. I grew up playing competitive sport, and I don't know why I'm like this as an adult, but essentially I wanted to stop playing because I didn't like that I had to do that every week. Some people like the routine, they like the regime, but I'm if I have basketball at 6 o'clock, at 3 o'clock, I'm oh my God, I have basketball at 6 o'clock.
No, that's part of the reason why I wanted to work remotely when I graduated, and when I, it was a big source of, I want, it's freedom that I want, and then I also wanted to just always be available, if somebody wanted me around, or if my family needed me, or if I wanted to go travel, I didn't want to have to, I didn't want to have to, worry that work needed me, or worry about time off. Those are things that I don't love in everyday life. So when I graduated, I really wanted to launch something that was mine, that I could just decide when I wanted to work and when I didn't want to work, because I do struggle, and I struggle with I have ADHD, so I struggle with time management stuff and due dates and stuff like that. So the due dates parts of work are always really hard and anxiety inducing, so at least if I'm at home, it's a lot more free for me.
But I think that's kind of one of the coolest things about this new shift in the way that the workplace works, is you can be flexible, and that's so much more conducive to so many people's lives. Where it was if you couldn't do a 9 to 5 before, you were maybe not a great employee. Well, no, it's not that you're not a great employee. It's that your brain doesn't work with those times. Like,
yeah.
You know, I totally get that. Do you want to jump into weird things that make me anxious?
Sure.
Okay. Do you want to go first or you want me to?
I can go first. I feel like mine need explaining because it's like, what the heck? When I'm looking at them now, I haven't looked at them in a couple of days.
Read the ones that are like a punch, and then it's like, wait, what?
Okay. Well, I think one that like a lot of people can relate to is like parallel parking literally anywhere.
Yeah.
I just got I've had 2 cars before the one I have now, but I just got like a 2019 Nissan, and it has a backup camera. So this is the first time I've ever had a backup camera in a car. So like I'm definitely more confident than I once was parallel parking, but it still makes me anxious. I hate it.
You cannot turn the backup camera in a parallel park.
It's just it's easier when you can like see how far away you are from the car behind you, but I still don't like it.
Well, then you get in your head and there's probably like somebody watching.
Yeah. I hate when like I know people are watching me or waiting for me, like behind me, like stop, just like go around me, do not wait.
Okay, let's go back and forth. So like you say one, I'll say one.
Okay.
And then we'll just like, yeah. When somebody says, tell me about you. Okay, so I have a funny story. So one day at work, sometimes there's like some pretty cool like celebrities. Like to me, celebrity. Mm-hmm. So Chris Jericho was in over the summer. Mm-hmm. He was here for the Stampede. Mm-hmm. And my husband's like a huge fan. Like he had Chris Jericho on his helmet like 5 years ago, the first year that we met. Like he had the Chris Jericho, I guess just like his face painted on his mask. Mm-hmm. And I got to meet Chris Jericho with my boss, who's also a huge fan. So like we're in the lobby and I'm like, oh hey, nice to meet you. Like, and I'm like kind of fangirling a little bit. And then he starts asking me about myself. And I literally, he was asking about like what team Steve played for and like how I was pregnant at the time. So he was like asking about the baby. And I swear like my words were like, and he's like, sorry, pardon? I'm not kidding. I could not speak to him. He's like AEW, he's a wrestler. Like, yeah. I could not speak to him for the life of me. Just, it's not even just about like meeting somebody. It's somebody saying, tell me about you.
It's like icebreakers. Like when you're in like a big group, like professors would always make us do icebreakers. And I was like, why? Like literally, why do you need to know like a fun, interesting fact about me? You don't. Like if you want to know, just come and talk to me, but do not make me talk in front of that many people.
So there is one time that actually worked really well for me. I was like 15 years old. I was applying for a job at American Eagle, working like the holiday things where like they hire all their holiday people. And the question was, if you could be one animal, what would you be? And stupid me, 15-year-old dummy, goes, I would be a chameleon because I can adapt to any situation. And it literally got me the job. Like
that's a good answer. I'm gonna use that.
You honestly should, because it got me that job. And then I kind of like I felt so stupid saying it, but like I used it for any seasonal job I wanted to pick up for years coming. And I had that job in American Eagle for like 5 years, and I swear like everybody heard about it. It was like it was the best.
I'm actually gonna use that.
You should. You'll feel stupid when you say it, but it works.
I think my next one that I'll pick is balloons, because I feel like that one's weird as hell.
What balloons?
Okay, I was like deathly afraid of balloons as a baby. Like my mom always says that like if there was like a balloon, I would like freak out and like scream. And now I can't handle like somebody like manhandling a balloon in front of me. It's just the popping sound. I know that like nothing bad is gonna happen if it pops, but I just like hate the anticipation of it popping. Like,
oh yeah, no, that totally makes sense.
I just can't handle them. I'm not really like scared of them like I used to be, but I was scared of like balloons, pumpkins, anything that resembled a balloon until I was like 3 or 4. Like I was like deathly afraid of them.
Did your mom ever like tell you like when you were like 2, a balloon popped in your face? Like
no, like she said nothing like ever happened. She also said though I was really scared of like the Billy Bass fishes that would like be on the wall.
Totally understand.
Yeah. Apparently I was really scared of those too, so I don't know. But I don't think I had any trauma.
Those are creepy.
Yeah.
Potlucks.
No, I get that. No, I get that. I do not like eating food from other people's homes unless I've been in the home and I know that they're like not disgusting.
Yeah. But it's like, it's also like, what about, like, what if you don't like what I bring?
No, I get that.
Right? Or like, what if what you make makes me sick? Or what if I take a bite and I like choke on it? Like, it's irrational. The thoughts are irrational.
When I was a kid, my mom had like people over, and a bunch of people brought food. I don't remember what it was. It was some like church event, and like people brought food over to our house, and we both got like such bad food poisoning from that. And it was like the first time I'd ever gotten food poisoning. I was like 11, and I remember that like so vividly because I was so sick. But that like experience freaked me out about eating at other people's homes. So it started at like 11 years old, and also I don't know if it's just, this is not hating on like cat people at all, because I love cats. I really do. Like
I don't.
I actually like, I really like hanging out with like a nice cat, but like people that like let their cats walk on counters and stuff, like yes, I cannot handle it. And then they cook, and I'm like, guys, like I don't want to eat the food that your cat walked in the litter box with and then walked on your counter.
Okay, so I should like, before like anybody says that I hate cats, I don't hate cats, but cats give me the ick sometimes because they walk on counters. They like walk in their litter and then they walk on counters. Yes, you could have an argument like a dog walks outside and like poops in the grass and
but
then
it stays off your counter.
Yes.
Like it doesn't go in your kitchen and like jump on the food or like where you cut the food.
Exactly. I can't even. And then, okay, so I have a bit of a funny story about a cat. Maybe I don't want to tell this, but like, so when we bought this house, it came with a sandbox. There was a sandbox here from the previous owner, and it was at the very back of my backyard. My daughter loved the sandbox, so I kept it for the summer, and I kept putting like the cinnamon all over it. So cinnamon deters animals, cats, like whatever, from getting in the sand, because I have this fear that there's going to be a cat using the sandbox like a litter box. So we would always cover it, blah, 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 blah. Well, lo and behold, a bunch of storms go through, and suddenly, so it's a little bit crazy about me to be so scared about cats using it as a litter box, especially when I'm pretty sure in my area, like, you're not allowed to have an outdoor cat because of all the coyotes.
Yeah.
So anywho, I'm cooking dinner one day, and from my kitchen, I can see the sandbox, and all of a sudden I see this giant thing. Like, it looked like a 50-pound 4-legged freak. And I'm looking, and I'm squinting even. I go to the window, and there's literally a cat taking a poop in the litter box, in the sandbox.
No.
I was like furious. You know, like you see like the cartoons like where people are running outside with a shoe in their hand, like chasing off or something. That was me. I literally grabbed a flip-flop and was like, hey, and I threw it up.
I would do the same thing too, because like you don't know, like that's gross.
Well, what if she went, like my daughter went to go play in that?
Yeah.
Ugh. Yuck, yuck, yuck. Yuck, 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 yuck.
Okay, birthdays and presents.
Oh my god. Is anybody actually like this? Like,
I don't know. I think some people enjoy the excitement of getting presents and not knowing what they are. And like I do to an extent, but like it just makes me anxious to like know that somebody's spent money on me, and like I don't know if I'm gonna like it. And also birthdays in general, like I'm turning 25 in 2 months, and like the thought of that already makes me feel kind of ill.
I feel like as a kid it's fun, and then as you get older, like there's this like, what's the social norm, like especially around Christmas. Like I can remember in high school, somebody that I was like just newly friends with got me this big gift for Christmas, and I was like, oh, was I supposed to get you something? You don't know, like, what's the social norm? If you get me a gift, do I have to get you a gift? What if my gift isn't as good as your gift? What if your gift was more expensive than my gift? That's like, I go squirrely.
I made a holiday list underneath about the things. I put 3 things about holidays and like specific weather things that make me upset and anxious, and it's the opening gifts and everyone staring at you. Yes. I absolutely cannot. I do not like being the center of attention in any situation that I'm in with multiple people. And then if you're opening a gift and everyone's just like awkwardly staring at you and you have to be like, oh, thanks, I love it. Like, I hated that. I hated it as a kid. I hate it now. And like, I'm very thankful that people get me things. I just like, I want to open them in private and then send them like a message and be like, thanks so much for getting me this. I love it.
Yeah. but it's even like sometimes people aren't good gift givers.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think I'm a pretty good gift giver.
Mm-hmm.
So like for Steve, I kind of go a little bit over. I guess we're using names now. For my family, I've gone pretty over and above. And then like when my in-laws come to visit, like I plan on like taking them places. Like I'm very much like experiences. That's the gift, and like, you know, not things.
Yeah.
So, but like I'm pretty stinking good at giving gifts.
Mm-hmm.
So Steve wants to take up hunting because a bunch of his buddies are going hunting and stuff now, and now he's a good old Alberta boy. And so I went to Bass Pro today, and like I got like some like his kind of like some camo gear.
Yeah.
You know, just like little things, not super expensive, like real tree brand. I mean, what's not super expensive? It's camo, so it's still expensive.
Yeah.
But like it's the fundamental things that he can go and do the thing that he wants to do. For Mother's Day last year, this man messed up so bad. So bad. And like I got mean. Like I like raged. I was like, how could you put this little effort into it? But I could never do that to anybody else.
Yeah.
I'm saying things I shouldn't even admit. But like, yeah, it was, so he went online and he got this heart that was like 3 inches wide. Like it was huge. And it was supposed to be a necklace.
Uh-huh.
And I opened it and I was like, oh, thank you. And then 3 days later, he's like, why are you not wearing it? I'm like, and then eventually it was just like, I need to know like the story of this because I really don't want to wear this necklace. And it went to like a whole fight of like how awful like the whole situation was. Where like I didn't want to, you know, like, and imagine doing that all, I don't know. Gifts are tough. Gifts make me anxious because what if you don't like it?
Yeah, I get that. And like also I always feel bad if I don't like it because I know that they've spent like money and like time to get me something, and then I feel so bad if I don't like it. I mean, like, luckily my family is pretty good at getting me gifts. Like I can't remember the last time I got something that I was like, I don't like this, but it's just the thought of like not liking it and then feeling like you have to say it, or then having to use the thing that they got you, like makes me so upset when I think about it.
I literally have asked everybody to like, I mean, it's like your parent, like you're at this point, like your parents kind of like, you know, send gifts for like, for me, for your kids, right? Like, so I'm very much like, when it was me, I could never ask for a gift and I would just be like, oh, I don't want anything. Now, like with my kids, like I'm very like, let's see what they want. Like, yes, ask me what they would like. I'll give you some ideas and then go from there. But it's always this like big deal.
Yeah, and I think for me too, like I took like the love languages test. Like I've taken that a couple times. Yeah, and like my like gift giving is always, or like gifts are like always my last one too. So it's just not a way that like I need it. Like it's just not something I need in my life. Yeah. And like there's other things that I need, but like the gift part is just like, it's never something that I'm going to be like upset about if I didn't get a present or something. Yeah. And so that's the other part for me where I'm just kind of like, I'd rather you know, come to the mall with me for an afternoon or something like that.
Yes. Yeah. But that's it. It's the experiences. And I mean, there's some people who are great at receiving gifts. For me, I'm like, it's the money. Like, okay, so if that giant heart were like $20, they'd be like, oh wow, honey, I love it. I'll use it as like, I'll put it on my rear view mirror.
Yeah.
But like, it was like $100. So I was more mad that he spent $100 on something that like, come on, you had to have known I wasn't gonna like, do you know me this little?
Yeah.
Like, but it's different when it's like your partner that you can get mad at.
Mm-hmm, for sure.
Holiday cards.
Yeah, what do you mean by that?
Okay, so a couple things. So do you send holiday cards? If somebody sends you a holiday card, should you have sent them a holiday card? Okay, but now if they send you a holiday card and it's like a week before Christmas, then you send them a Christmas card after Christmas, then now are you rude? And they're like, well, you only sent me a card because I sent you a card.
See, I don't think I can relate to this one yet because I don't have I don't have a family of my own yet. Like, I don't have kids. And, like, I'm not married, so, like, I have nobody to send a holiday card to or with. Unless I just, like, sent it by myself.
But then it's, like, it's also, like, okay, so birthday cards. What about birthday cards?
Mm-hmm.
Do you keep birthday cards?
I've kept, like, really nice cards that my mom and my grandma have sent me. But I can tell you this, my grandma, we just got a bunch of boxes from her old house. into our house, like, for storage. And she kept every single one of my mom and uncle's cards from when they were kids, like birthday cards. She has them from, like, their first birthdays up until, like, their 16th birthday, like, these fading, like, cards. And, like, she just kept them all.
I think generationally there's, like, a huge gap. Like, I do not like cards. Like, if my family were to give me a gift, like, for, like, the things like bridal showers and things like that, like, or even birthdays, my mom will literally e-transfer me, like, $50 for my birthday, because she's in Ontario. She'll, like, e-transfer me $50. Oh, do something for you. And then she'll send me a card, like, through the mail saying happy birthday, and I e-transferred you. But, like, got the card, like, 2 weeks after you e-transferred me. Like, I know, thank you. Like, I very much appreciate it, but now what do I do with this card?
I think it's, like, customary for, like, older generations to, like, make sure that they send cards, because the mail was such a bigger deal then. But, like, for me, I've also moved. I think this is just part of my personality, because I've moved so much in my life. I've literally moved, like, 15 times in my life, and I'm just not that sentimental anymore.
Yeah.
There's, like, a box of stuff from my childhood that I have, like, one box of stuff that I would probably, like, be sad to part with. But, like, I just throw stuff away. Like, I have no need to be sentimental. And, like, that's just me, though. I know that some people really are, and I think that that's also important, like, to keep your family stuff and your kids' stuff around, like, whatever. But, no, I'm, like, not the type that's gonna be, like, sad, especially if I'm in, like, a good cleaning mode, or, like, I have to pack up and move again, and I know I'm gonna have to, like, gut all this stuff. Like, I just throw it away. I don't feel bad.
The thing too is, like, okay, but it's great that you don't feel bad. It's hard losing, like, the guilt of it, and maybe it's, I don't know, like, I just have, like, that guilt about throwing things away.
Yeah.
Like, my mom has kept things for 30 years.
See, and I think I might be different when I have kids. Like, I think, because even with, like, you know, I have, like, a little brother, he's 2, and I know that, like, there are things where I'm like, oh, it's kind of sad to throw that away. Like, he really likes that. Or, like, you know, his little birthday cards, I just threw the one I got him away, and I was like, oh, but, like, I said, like, a cute little message.
I don't know, like, I look at the things that she, like, I feel bad, like, where, like, my mom kept things for 30 years, and I've moved all over the country, like, and she's held on to it, and then I've moved with it. And I'm like, and I'm at this point where I'm like, why? Like, you might have had a memory from this, but I sure don't remember this, like, at all. And you probably don't even remember it anymore. It's tricky.
Being home alone at night. My mother will attest to this, and my boyfriend and my grandparents will attest to this. Everybody that knows me, I do not sleep well in a house that is empty by myself. I just do not. I sleep on the main floor, on my couch, close to the door. I, like, refuse to sleep upstairs. I hate it. I don't mind being home alone. I don't like sleeping in my house.
Hey, wait, hold on. Close to the door?
Yeah.
Why?
Because then I know if an intruder came in.
Then you could leave with them?
I would just rather, like, not be upstairs and know that there's an intruder, or I'd rather just be downstairs. I, like, sleep with my phone in my hand, like, when nobody's here. Like, it's really irrational and bad.
Laine!
No, I know, it's really bad. Like, my mom left for, I don't remember, I was home alone one night, like, not that long ago, and my boyfriend couldn't come here or something, and I was just, like, alone in my house, and I slept on the couch downstairs with him on the phone, with the TV up, the windows, all the blinds open.
What happened? Like, is there a story?
No.
Like, anything ever...
No, I've never had, like, a robbery. I've never had anything. I just really don't like being alone at night. I've never liked it. Like, my mom's been leaving me alone, and, like, forever. Like, as long as I can remember, I've always been a kid that stayed home alone. Like, I just was like that, and I was homeschooled, so I was always kind of, like, if she had to step out of the house, like, I was just the only one. So, like, I'm very used to being alone, and I don't even mind that part, but it's the sleeping part. I just can't handle it.
Huh. Wow.
And, like, my boyfriend's bedroom is in a basement, and when I sleep over at his house, I make him open the door to his bedroom, because we're on a different level than everybody else in the house, and I'm like, we can't hear anything, like, on the top floors. Like, what if somebody falls, or what if, like, an alarm goes off or something and we don't hear it, like I make him sleep with the door all the way open.
That makes sense.
I just don't like sleeping like very isolated from other people. I've never liked it.
No, that's fair. I get that. One of the things I like that make me irrationally or weird things that make me anxious is, and you'll probably get this too, is if I like text like my spouse or my mom and they don't answer within like an hour, immediately like they're dead or dying.
No, I get that.
Calling hospitals.
I get that. I think I'm more used to it than I used to be, just because I know that like my mom, you know, she does have like a toddler now, so like I know that there's reasons that she doesn't answer. But like, yeah, I definitely, like if they don't answer phone calls and stuff, I'm kind of like, hope they're okay.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I can remember working at like a restaurant, and there was a really rainy night, and this has got to be like 15 years ago, maybe 10. And I don't know why I thought that my mom was in a car accident. I was like, it's pouring rain, she's in an accident, that's why she's not answering my calls. No, she was just like, oh, I didn't hear my phone. It was insane.
Yeah.
Like,
no, I get that. And my mom actually shares that with me, because there was one time I got in an accident in high school. This was like almost 10 years ago now. And I called her from the road after I got in an accident and told her that I was in an accident. And now every time I'm out of the house and I call her, she thinks I'm going to tell her that like I'm in an accident again, and she like freaks out, and I feel bad that I traumatized her in that way. She's also anxious girly though. So maybe she needs to chill. But
okay, once you become a parent, I don't think you ever chill again.
I can see
like,
that.
Think about how much you love your brother and just feel like so I was definitely an anxious person. Like, we'll get to this, but like my anxiety was like debilitating. Like it was so deep that like I would pass out. And I didn't realize it was anxiety. Like I was like treated for like eating disorders, something with like, they did like brain scans, heart scans, CT scans, heart monitors. Like I was studied like clinically for years. And then it wasn't until somebody was like, have you ever thought that maybe it's just an anxiety attack? And literally like 2 years after somebody said that to me, they stopped. I haven't had an anxiety attack like that in 6 years. The last time it happened, I was in Edmonton, and Steve and I were only dating for like 6 months. He came to visit me. I was living in Grand Prairie at the time. He was still living in Ontario. Anyways, I had an anxiety attack in the morning, and I almost, like, I passed out and I almost, like, smashed my head on the floor. He's like, I caught you. Like, you would have, like, smashed your head on this, like, tile floor. Because we were just coming out of the hot tub at the hotel. So, like, it used to be super bad, but it wasn't acknowledged, I think. Like, for me, like, you and I almost have, like, a 10-year age difference. That 10 years of knowledge and understanding and acceptance of anxiety, you know, socially, is very different. So back then it was just very different, and then now it's a lot more accepted. But like now I'm kind of in this stage where like I'm not taking any medication or anything for it, like nothing like that. But it's definitely pivoted. Can't say it's gotten worse. It's not gotten better. It's just like more, I don't know, it's easier to live through, but it's completely different now that I'm a parent, because I feel like I don't have the anxiety just for me. Like there's so many things that I would have done before that I will not do now because I can't stop thinking about my kids. Yeah. It literally feels like your insides are a secondary part of yourself. And that kind of anxiety just catapults you into a whole other, it's like different realms of anxiety now.
Yeah, I definitely think that like the way that like you would have experienced socially having anxiety, is very different from what I did and experienced, especially in like, I mean, I will say though, I went to a Dutch Reformed Christian high school in northern New Jersey. So the whole like mental health thing was like definitely talked about because it had to be talked about because we were Gen Z and like, you know, that's just what it was. But at the same time, like, I don't know if there was like necessarily like it wouldn't have been like a public a public education all around acceptance, just because like the culture of the school was very tough it out, I guess. And I don't even necessarily think it's like necessarily a bad thing, and for the most part, like I really, I got a great education and I'm not complaining about it. But definitely, like I think it was different than when I hear my friends talk about in public school, like what, the social acceptances were around mental health were very different than what I experienced in my high school.
Okay.
And just like, we had a really good counselor as well, like love her. I got to talk to her a bunch of times and she was fantastic, but like they didn't have like necessarily like the services that like public schools were getting during that time too, because this was like 2015 to like 2019 is when I was there ish.
That was in New Jersey.
Yeah.
I wonder what, like, because I think just every district is going to be very different.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really remember it ever being mentioned in my Ontario school district.
Mm. I think it'd be the opposite now in Ontario.
Yeah. Honestly, but like I know a lot of people who took their own lives after high school, and they're people that I don't think, like, I think looking back, you're like, wow, I feel like I saw the signs, but it was never discussed. Like, I mean, bullying was discussed and like things like that, but like I wonder what it's like now. Like, I won't really know much more until my kids go to school, which is, a couple of years in the future. But man, like it's a whole other layer, and I'm really curious of what it'd be like.
I think it's like a lot more like widespread like knowledge about it, and I think they realize that a lot of people struggle with, and when I say they, I mean like the Canadian like school association has realized that like a lot of people struggle with the same things, and so there should be resources and outlets for kids especially. But and I think too, like if you think about how accepting workplaces have gotten, and even in Alberta, like we're arguably the most conservative province in the whole country, like they the work systems and the workplaces and the laws regarding mental health days and XYZ have changed so much, even since I moved here like 4 years ago. It's very different, and I don't know, I think COVID had a lot to do with that.
See it, like, and I'm like, now I'm thinking back too. So I went to school 2009 is when I graduated, and so like there was only 4 years, so it would have started 2005. In those years, I actually did go see a counselor, but I don't know if anybody else did. And then when we did, oh my gosh, I'm remembering things now. I think my school was a little bit more progressive than I realized. Because we did like an event where like I was a camp leader kind of thing. Like I like led this camp. Or like these teachers just like chose me to be like the head leader, I guess you'd call it.
Yeah.
What was I called? Anyways, I was like the head leader, and then I got to choose one person to be with me. I did it for 2 years in a row, and then I graduated. Okay, shout out to Bramarama. It was called Bramarama.
That's your school name?
It was Grammarly Secondary.
Oh, that's so funny.
Yeah, it was, and we did like little things. Like it was actually really, really cool. We all got T-shirts. I'm sure I can find old pictures of it. Man, that was really cool. And then we had like we would go off into like little groups, and I got to like kind of press into like, because I was like the leader, I would go and check in on the group. So like there was like a red group, a green group, a blue group, a purple group, blah, 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 blah. And there were sessions where they would, like talk about like their mental health. I guess there was a little bit more support than I realized.
It's just like, I feel like it changed a lot, like, even after like our parents like finished, because I think people were, starting to take their own lives or become really sick mentally, and like people had to realize that like, okay, something has to be done about this. And I think the pressure of the world just got more intense too, like the 2008 recession, and you've got kids that have parents that are so stressed out and divorced all the time, and like those things really changed culturally, and I think it affected the kids more too. So you grow up with these kids that are like stressed from their parents being divorced or fighting all the time, you know, in their childhoods and teenhoods. And
I think the other thing too is like you think about all the people that are like in the workforce. If you're not abiding by all the rules of what society in like the 80s thought was acceptable, like you were lazy, you weren't a good employee, and then you were just unemployed. Now with like the flexibility of it and the mental health support, like people can actually work through their insecurities, their conditions, their disabilities, their, you know, like I love the human mind. Like if I ever had the chance to like go back and like dump a bunch of money into university, I would dump it right into something that, I don't know, like sociology or something like that, like where I could just like learn about people and how they tick, because people are fascinating. And to see how some people navigate through the world, even if they have like debilitating anxiety or depression or anything, and they can just find like the right thing that helps them contribute to the world and fulfills them as well as fulfills other people.
Yeah.
I just think about how many like lives that is saved, like giving somebody a purpose through what they originally see as their weakness.
You're like so much more extroverted than me, and I love it. I'm like, I would take everybody's negative energy and just like go to sleep in my car after. Like it would be not a good career path, but I think it'd be really interesting to like learn how the brain works. Like I took a intro to psych class my like third year of university, and it was so interesting, like how we got to learn like just like the different like lobes of the brain and what they contributed to your overall like well-being. Yeah, it was so fun. Like we learned about how like, you know, even like the nerves in your fingertips radiate like different lobes in your brain, and like people's brains work in completely different ways, and like nobody thinks the same way about anything. And like there's more people that are geared towards like the art, creative, whatever, and there's more people that are geared towards like logic, obviously, and like type A, type B kind of vibe. But like everybody thinks about something in a very different way, which is why like anxiety is so hard to like diagnose and like understand, because somebody will be like, that literally made me throw up from anxiety, and the next person will be like, that's the easiest thing in the world, and like they're never gonna find like that commonality.
So my anxiety actually like catapults my social interaction. Like it's, you're like saying extroverted, it's all anxiety based. Like if I were to like I swear like it has gotten me through life, and it's definitely like my personality is very anxious, and I speak through all of my anxiety, and then like I do like the post-mortem, did I sound dumb? Like all the time, I'm like, oh my god, did I say too much? Oh my god, who's gonna know what I said? Like I probably won't be able to listen much to our podcast because I will be so in my head about it. But I've also learned that I think that there's so many people like me, but it's really helped me through my life to be like this. And as much as I love who I am from it, like anxiety is hard, but I love my anxiety because it's made me who I am. Does that make sense?
No, I get it. It's kind of how I feel about ADHD. I'm like, I hate certain parts of ADHD. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I got diagnosed at literally 10 years old. Like, I was radiating ADHD from the time I came out the womb to now. Like, there was nobody that denied it. I got diagnosed, like, on the spot in my school district at the time, and by, like, multiple doctors. And they, like, there's parts that I absolutely hate, like, about ADHD, but I also have no idea who I am, like, without it. And so there's parts, like, you know, my mom will, like, look up, like, treatments and stuff, and she'll be like, oh, you can, you know, go see this chiropractor, and they really help with, like, ADHD, and they help, there's so much new research about this kind of stuff, right? And I'm like, it all sounds so nice. Like, what if I could just, like, function and not, like, worry about, you know, the littlest thing, and not be able to not be able to meet deadlines and stuff. But then I'm like, but who, like, literally who the hell am I without this part? Because I don't even know. Like, I have no idea who I'd be without it.
See, when you say ADHD, like this is like the neurodivergent, neurodivergent, is that
Mm-hmm.
the right? When I hear those terms, I think of genius. Like, I think that there's a genius on another level, like intellectual, smarts, like, is, like, I'm not very highly educated. I could never focus in school. I got through life, like, being social and, like, doing just well enough.
Mm-hmm.
But I could never focus to, like, I was never diagnosed ADHD, or any kind of diagnosis. Like, even when they, like, gave me kind of, like, a diagnosis of, like, anxiety, it was kind of like, you're just anxious.
Mm-hmm.
Here's some medicine.
Mm-hmm.
But it just never worked with me. Anyways, long story, like, what I'm trying to say is, like, I hear ADHD, I hear anything like that, I think genius on another level.
No, I get that. I think too, like, definitely, like, I know that there's areas that I thrive in that I think people without ADHD don't. And I think that there's other ways that, like, you know, I don't thrive in other ways too. Like, I really struggle, like, with a lot of, like, little things. And even just, like, going into ADHD, a lot of women with ADHD really struggle with rejection sensitivity disorder, which I don't think is, like, talked about enough. Like, you hear all this stuff about ADHD and everybody's got ADHD and blah, blah, blah. But, like, we do not talk about, like, the rejection disorder enough. And, like, I think that that's the biggest thing that I struggle with ADHD, which is, like, you take any ounce of rejection and it's like, I'm not worth anything, everybody hates me, I should just stay home. And, like, my boyfriend will probably tell you time and time again, it's like, he has to remind me all the time, like, no, like, nobody hates you, I don't hate you, like, I love you, we're gonna stay together, like, it's fine, like. And that's such a big part of, like, what I deal with. And it was so much worse for me, like, as a kid, too. Like, if I wasn't invited to, like, a party, or I didn't get added to, like, a Snapchat group chat, or I wasn't tagged in that photo, or I wasn't in that photo. Like, I was, like, in tears on the living room couch, and my mom was consoling me, saying, like, just because you run around for that second where they took a picture does not mean that your friends hate you. And it was, like, such a problem, and it still is. It's better than it used to be, if I can believe it. I don't know if my boyfriend will believe it.
That sounds the same for me. Like,
well, maybe you have it, girl. I don't know.
Something about myself.
You might have it. There's a lot of women with ADHD and they never know because the doctors are just like, you're literally fine. You're just being dramatic. I was very fortunate in that I had a fantastic mother who was not going to let me leave that doctor's office without getting diagnosed, and B, I had really good doctors, and I had women doctors that were diagnosing me, and I think that helped. So I got kind of lucky in that way, but I know that, like, not every woman has that experience.
Damn, Laine, I think this is gonna be my journey of diagnosis. Maybe that's one of the things that I need to do. Like, I mean, we'll do, like, I think this is kind of like a side note. We'll maybe write out, like, a better script of, like, how to, like, what, like, our intro is gonna be.
Mm-hmm.
But I think me actually, like, getting tested, I don't know, is that, maybe that's gonna be a whole journey of this. Caitlin's journey to getting tested. Because I've never, like, I can remember, like, being, God, how old was I? I don't know. I remember being a little bit older, because I feel like in the same meeting with my doctor, I was asked if I wanted to go on the pill.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I must not have been, like, super young.
Yeah.
Like, I would assume, right? Like, but I can remember, like, my doctor being like, oh, okay, so here's, like, a 10 milligram, like, what small amount of some kind of a drug for depression and
also,
anxiety.
Side note, you came in for an anxiety disorder and they were going to give you, like, a hormone and a pill?
Yeah.
What the hell?
I know.
Okay.
I hated that doctor, though. My mom, like, that doctor delivered me, and hashtag, I hope she never listens to this. Just say hashtag.
Yeah.
It's very, like, I feel like we used to say that a lot when we didn't know what hashtags did.
Mm-hmm.
So this was, like, 10 years ago, because I'm old. The doctor, like, she, like, delivered me, and she was, like, I can remember going into an appointment and her being like, so she had met one of my friends at the appointment before, because I needed to, like, I had to get, like, an eczema cream. And then the next appointment, my doctor goes, so that girl was your friend? She looks like a slut.
Oh my God. What the heck?
You shouldn't have friends like that. I'm like, okay. So I don't want to see you anymore.
Yeah, that's insane.
It was so weird. Like, she was a pretty mean doctor, so I guess her thinking that I have depression and anxiety, she also thought that I needed the pill.
Yeah.
But yeah, I got like the smallest amount of like antidepressant and like whatever it was. I couldn't even tell you what it was. I took it for like a couple of months and I hated it, and it made me feel weird. And it kept saying like you couldn't drink while you were on it, and that was like the age where like everybody started drinking at house parties.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I'm not doing this anymore.
That was like me on Vyvanse when I got ADHD pills in my last year of university, because I was like, I overworked myself to a max and I was like struggling in every area, and I was like, shit, I'm just gonna use my last couple dollars of student benefits and get some Vyvanse. And I didn't, like, I don't know, I forgot that you couldn't drink on it, and I went out to Cowboys with a couple friends, and I had, I don't know, one double rum and coke, and I was like falling over, and I was like, okay, we're never drinking a Vyvanse again. It was so bad. It was like, it turned one drink into like 3 or 4. Like, it was so bad.
That's wild.
Yeah, and I don't really take it anymore because I just feel like the work I'm doing, I just wing it. But I feel like the work I'm doing right now, I don't need it. I was just really struggling with, like, I was in a lot of classes and just trying to get my degree over with, and so I was like, I just need something that will make me lethargic enough to sit at my computer and finish a bunch of work.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did the same thing. I was like drinking on medicine I should not have been drinking on.
Oh my god.
It was so bad.
I love these reasons why we like stopped taking medication.
I just tried to be party girl and I ended up on the floor. Like, it was so bad. I think another weird one that I have is red wine.
Red wine?
Yeah. So, like, I don't know what, I love me some white wine. Like, if you can pour me a glass of white wine, I am a happy camper. But red wine, for some reason, red wine makes me feel hot and anxious as hell. Like, I cannot handle the red wine. And if it's always warm. I think what I like about white wine is that it's most likely gonna be cold or chilled. And I even, like, I'm known to put ice in my wine. Like, I like it really cold. And red wine, like, that's just not an option. And they're gonna serve it to you, like, hot. I swear to God. And I do not like it.
But I get it. Like, so white wine is it's a thing where it makes you warm. Mm-hmm. Like, there's something in it where, like, it's supposed to make you warm. Mm-hmm. But, like, warm can make you anxious.
I just can't handle, like, and it makes my face so, I have rosacea, actually, and I was
literally just thinking of, like, if there's people rosacea, like, it makes their rosacea flare up.
So I have rosacea. I've really taken care of, like, my rosacea in the last couple of years, like, in my early 20s, because I started seeing it get worse, and the red wine, I swear, it just erases all the work and money I have spent into my face, because I go to look at myself in the bathroom, and I am, like, beet red and swollen, but, like, white wine makes me fun. Like, I don't know what it is. I love white wine. I'm social on white wine. I am, like, a social little butterfly. I will walk around and talk to everybody. I have no anxiety. I'm, like, uninhibited. Like,
red wine makes me, like, just, like, the thought of it gives me, like, acid reflux.
No, so. I know, it's so bad. I don't know how people drink it. I really don't.
I feel like it's like a scam. Like, everybody tells us that wine's so good, and I'm like, no. Or when people show up to my house with wine, and they're like, oh, like, we could drink wine together. Like, no, please.
Do you like white wine? Really?
I'm just not a big fan. Like, I'm gonna sound like such a loser. All I really drink is water. Like, I love water. It sounds so stupid, I know. I love water. Even pop, like, I don't like the feeling of it, like, making my nose funny.
See, I'm, like, heavily addicted to Diet Coke.
You, like, 20 to 25-year-olds love your Diet Coke. I check out, like, well, there's two of the girls that you know from work. Mm-hmm. We had gone out for, to do some street team stuff. And, I stopped, I got everybody slushies. I was pregnant at the time, so they're like, it's too hot. You stay in the car. We'll go do everything. So I'm like, okay, I'll go get a slushies. When you get a slushie, what do you do?
Like, what flavor do I get?
Yes.
If there's blue raspberry, I get blue raspberry, but if there's Diet Coke, I will always get Diet Coke.
Only Diet Coke?
Yeah, I won't, like, mix it.
You're supposed to layer it!
No, I hate layering slushies.
Oh my god. What is the point if you don't layer it?
Because the layering is, like, I don't know. There's, like, I don't want the flavors to mix.
Oh god.
I don't want cherry in my Coke. I just don't.
So, it was literally, like the four of us. The two girls got all Diet Coke, just like what you would have gotten.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's me and one of them. We're just like layering all these like random flavors. It's like a rainbow, and then theirs, and yeah.
Yeah, you're actually so right. I don't know what it is about Gen Z, like the older Gen Z being like seriously addicted to Diet Coke, but it's bad. Like they've got their reins on us. I don't know what they did to our generation.
But that's the thing is like I remember Diet Coke, Diet Pepsi being huge when I think that's maybe like what it was. Where like when you guys were maybe preteens,
mm-hmm.
It was big for like the 25-year-olds.
Mm.
Because I remember being, because I remember it being like really, really huge. Where like everybody was complaining about like aspartame and like the what's it called? The Atkins diet was huge.
Yeah.
And I'm so surprised that you guys were like into Diet Coke because then there was like this whole wave of aspartame is so bad for you. Nobody should ever have Diet Coke.
And I don't think that like we even like subscribe to the idea that it's good for us. Like nobody's like, I drink Diet Coke because I feel like I'm not gonna get cancer from that. Like no, we 100% know that it's super bad. But I am like, I treat it like coffee though. I don't drink coffee.
That's the other thing. Y'all don't drink coffee.
No, I don't drink coffee. I like coffee, but I do not drink coffee. But I treat Diet Coke like my caffeine. Like it's my caffeine for the day. Mm-hmm. And it's bad. I'm not saying it's good.
And this is another thing that I find really weird too, is like there's so many people like that think it's weird that I drink black coffee, but then they'll drink a Diet Coke. And I think Diet Coke tastes weird.
Yeah. I hear people say that it tastes like medicine.
Yeah.
And I don't get that at all.
It's the syrupy fizz.
See, there's nothing greater to me in my life than a Diet Coke from McDonald's.
The most syrupy carbonate. That's literally all it is. It's syrup and carbon.
It's so good.
Knocking. If somebody knocks at my door.
Yeah, no, I get that.
Instantly my body like heats up. I'm like running to make sure that all the doors and the windows are locked, making sure I have eyes on both my kids, making sure that I'm fully dressed so that I can peek through the like viewer hole and check like my camera to see who it is, and then I'll finally answer.
I feel like this was like heightened for me more when I lived in the States than it is now, because I live in like a quiet little suburb in Calgary, like southeast Calgary. I'm 30 minutes away from downtown. Like the people that knock on my door are the neighbors trying to ask me something, or the TELUS guys trying to sell me something, or it's kids collecting bottles for their hockey team. Yeah. So it's never anybody like scary. It's literally just like one of the three. So, like, for me, I definitely get anxious when, like, it's a certain time of the day. But if it's, like, the mid-afternoon, I'm, like, willing to bet $1 million. It's a little boy asking for bottles for his hockey team.
So, 2 funny stories for you. So, one, just kind of about your bottle drive. I was a Girl Guide when I was a kid. So, this kind of, like... I was a Girl Guide, too. Oh. when we just bought this house, like, we just moved in and I don't know. Actually, you know what? Maybe because it was a couple months after, because I think I already had my son. And these Girl Guides came to the door. And at first we were kind of like, who's at our door? Like, that's so weird. Like, why are people coming to our door? Because we moved out of an apartment. And we go to, like, check the door. And Steve's like, oh, it's the Girl Guides. They're selling cookies. And girl, when I tell you, my eyes, like, I bawled. I cried so hard. I was like, oh my god, the Girl Guides are coming and selling us cookies. I had, like, the life that I always wanted. Like, I had a house. That's so mean. It was insane. It was so absolutely bananas. It was like a bad, like, hormone drop. But I was
that would be me, like, without a baby and without hormones. Like, that would just be me on, like, a normal Tuesday afternoon. If a Girl Guide came to my house and was asking me if I wanted to buy cookies, I'd buy all of her cookies and then cry. Like, 100%.
We bought 5 boxes.
Yeah, I would buy so many boxes. It would be alarming. Because I'm like that at, like, art shows or, like, craft shows or something. Like, I almost hate going to them. Like, I really love going to them for the vibes, but I feel so bad when I don't buy something.
Yes.
And I'm like, these people are, like, so passionate about what they do, and they stood here, and they got here, and they paid a fee, and I'm just walking past the art like it means nothing to me, and I want to talk to all of them and be like, this is so beautiful, but I'm just really broke, and I have to pay for my car, I can't afford your $2,000 art, but I love it, and I think it's so cool, and I feel so bad when I have to walk by them.
Like, is that normal? Like, I don't know how people don't feel like that, though. Like,
I don't know if
is
it's
it
normal.
too empathetic? Like, are we, like, too... Like, are we projecting feelings that aren't even there?
See, okay, do you know about the Enneagram numbers?
No.
Okay, it's like a test. It's kind of like a personality.
I haven't even been tested yet, Laine, okay?
It's like the personality test, like, you know, like the INFPs or whatever. So,
no.
Oh, okay, well, I'm going to send you a bunch of stuff.
Send this to me. Yeah.
Okay, so I am, like, there's 3 tests that I really like to follow, and... Well, I guess there's more, like, 2. I kind of associate with, like, the astrology signs, but, like, not really, because I don't know. But I'm a Pisces. I'm an Enneagram number 2, and I am an INFP. So out of all of those 3 things, I am, like, the most emotional, passionate, and sensitive. Of all the tests I've ever taken, and I'm a Hufflepuff, so I don't know. So out of all of the things that I've taken, I'm a Hufflepuff. Out of all the things I've ever taken personality-wise, it's literally like, I am just the most sensitive and kind of the hardest person to make happy because everything hurts my feelings. So I think it's so funny that, like, other people don't feel those things, and I will be in craft markets, and I feel so bad that the old lady who embroidered tote bags talked to me for 10 minutes, and I didn't buy her $85 tote bag with a bird on it that I would never use, but I didn't buy it, and she's sitting there feeling sad.
Yeah, but she probably isn't, because at the same time, who told her to try and sell that thing for $85?
I know. This lady, I was just at a craft show, and this lady... Oh, I really hope she doesn't hear this. This lady was selling finger puppets, and they were super cute, and my brother loves finger puppets. And I talked to her, and I was like, how much are they? And she was like, $15 for one.
What?
And I was like, it's a finger puppet. Like, what do you mean? And then I had to leave, and she talked to me about how she made them for her grandson, and they just took off online. And I was like, I'm so sorry, but, like, I'm not going to buy your $15 finger puppet.
Who are the people that are, like, spending $15 to buy your finger puppets?
I don't know.
Because I want to be, like, I would love to be supportive of all of that. But my budget doesn't allow for it.
I know, and, like, there's a lot of things that I would buy for Zion, and a lot of ways I would go over budget for him, but I was not going to spend $15 on a raccoon finger puppet, even though it was super cute. But then I felt so bad, and I had to walk away, and I was holding this other lady's cookies that I bought, and I spent $13 on those cookies, and I was like, you know, I spent $13 on cookies, but I wouldn't spend $15 on a finger puppet. Am I a bad person? And then I was like, no, I'm not a bad person.
The spiral.
Yeah.
The spiral.
It was bad.
Oh, that's so good. Oh, and then, okay, the last one, and then, okay, so yesterday, I've been putting the kids to bed pretty early lately, and, like, getting them down by, like, 7:30, but not realizing it. I mean, it's intentional, but I'm not used to it. It's been, like, I was lucky to get Blake down between, like, 8:30 and 9.
Yeah.
And, anyways, so the other day I got the kids down at, like, 7. At the same time they were sleeping. And in my head, I guess I thought it was 10. Somebody came knocking at my door, and I literally freaked out. Like, I was, like, literally checked every window, every door, panicked. It was somebody dropping off a package. All they did was knock on the door and ran away.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening to Good Girls Have Anxiety. If you have a story you'd like to share with us, we'd love to hear from you. Email us at goodgirlshaveanxiety@gmail.com.
You can follow us on Instagram at goodgirlshaveanxiety_podcast. Keep listening for more ways to get in touch with us and hear more about what we have coming up.